I'm here back in my birthplace, which is the Merseyside, but I don't sound like it, do I? And I've been helping animals since 1980 and sustaining the length of time in like 1980, what is that, 44 years, is a challenge to not burn out. And this is our challenge. And I have a film that the Earthlings director created that this will be the first time it's shown in the United Kingdom. And it's a short film, 15 minutes. And it shows, the reason I'm showing it to you today, and it's non-graphic. The reason I'm showing it to you today is to establish that I'm still here from 1980, so I must be doing something right. So establish my expertise. However, I have to say that it's still a challenge for me, as it is for all of us. And also to let you know that this film is free for you to use in universities or higher school grades. And I will arrange for you to get vegan food to give out when this film is being screened. So I have my cards up here to after. But I don't want to lock the door, but I don't want it to be, yes. All right. So could I ask you to turn those lights out right there behind you on that switch? Thank you very much. Thank you. And then can we get out of the square? Get out of that, those things at the bottom?
That other animals were really just like us.
Can we turn it up? It's not coming out of the speaker. How do you get that thing out?
When I looked really close and saw this little being looking just right back at me, and I thought, this is another whole entire being. I think more and more people are realizing that what we eat and what we buy affects not only how we feel and how we look and how soon we're going to die, but also the earth and the planet that we live in. My parents didn't really care for animals. And so I saw a lot of cruelty as a child. So I came home from school, and the dog that we had that was tied that was in the basement was given away. And then we went to see the dog, and somebody was hitting Coogee, and I couldn't get out of the car. And the dog was running after us, and that was the last time I saw Coogee. Today we have many animal welfare groups here to tell people to have a very merry fur-free Christmas, and please don't wear fur for the following year. It's ironic that I was sensitized to how these individuals were just like us, just the same as me and you. And then, shortly after, I saw how they could be harmed. Then, when I was 9, I was taken into the chicken hatchery because I liked animals. So off I went to the chicken hatchery, and I saw them all being gassed and suffocated. So I realized something's wrong. And it was just business as usual in the chicken hatchery. Sometimes people forget that chickens are beautiful birds because we're so used to thinking of them in a different way. And I saw some chicks crawling out from under the dead chicks in these big industrial bins as soon as they're hatched on the conveyor belt, and I was 9. And I looked to the adults in the room to stop what was happening, and they were just sorting.
the reason I'm showing you is I know you don't need to be educated, but it was every time I show this at a
Really, it was
class,
really
we have a quarter of the
unpopular
room go vegan
to be
every
cared
time I show it, because it's in
in
the
where
story.
I grew up.
So
It wasn't
their
cool.
defenses are not up because it's
You,
in the story.
it was not cool to care. In spite of perhaps peer pressure that say, oh, who cares, it doesn't matter. These kids have been courageous, they've been compassionate, and Animal Hero Kids is all about empowering these youth and letting them know that there are many other kids just like them around the world who are speaking out and acting for animals. Do you think an elephant likes to leave their family? No. Do you think an elephant likes to be taken from their home jungle? No. It's not cool to care when around you there's so much abuse, domestic violence, gang violence, robberies, you know, people jumping out of windows, all kinds of crime. And when you're a teenager, it's not cool to care in that environment. You've got to be tough. So it's not cool. To step out of that is a risk. But however, you have to and risk the ridicule. So my nickname was actually Animal Crackers. That's what they used to call me.
Two Toronto school teachers were tackled and dragged out of the ring at the Moscow Circus tonight after they attempted to disrupt the show, claiming circuses are cruel to animals.
Wild animals do not excel in captivity.
Just as the Acrobats Act was getting underway, two protesters, Leah Ann Mallett and Susan Hargreaves, who'd been waiting in the front row, took to center stage. They were taken away by security staff and charged with engaging in a prohibited act on private property.
There is so much abuse that happens in circuses that a lot of the people going in watching the show have no idea. Yeah, and I was the Animal Crackers. That's what they call me. We're out here to educate people on the cruelty of wearing fur because I was so vocal about not harming animals.
The fashion show, meanwhile, began on time and was uneventful until being disrupted by several demonstrators who had gained admission to the store. Lake hold traps were held up and displayed. Police, who had been tipped off about possible trouble, quickly rushed the protesters and hustled them out a back door. Police handcuffed the suspects and several scuffles erupted while the officers waited for reinforcements.
We do not need to wear fur any longer. It is not a class act. Yes, you may be ridiculed for being kind, but you end up being stronger. So it's almost like trial by fire. Because you've already conquered the ridicule of your friends, the ridicule of your family, and nobody can get that close to you to ridicule you like that. I'm Susan Hargreaves, two-legged, four-legged, winged or furred. Every being deserves to live free of harm. The fact is that I had to think, okay, here's this cruelty. This is actually happening. I didn't realize the scale that it was happening until I investigated it myself. Now what? How can we even think to stop this? What's the next step?
That's Lovey, 23-year-old vegan dog. 23-year-old.
Wildlife here this morning. This is the absolute best part, isn't it? When people see wildlife free, it reinforces it. Freedom. You get to help an injured animal, bring that animal back from the brink of death, and then watch the bird fly away, it's just gold. Some people would say it's extreme, but it's really not extreme. What's extreme is the suffering that the animals go through, and that we're a part of, and we have no idea. And I always say, what do you think V stands for? And kids say vegan. Sometimes if they're in Palm Beach, they say vodka. A very important message for all his rabbit friends. And that message is to be kind to all animals. We're celebrating the victories for the fur-bearing animals that have happened this past year. An activist used to be a dirty word, really. To be an activist was not a good thing. And we're fed up. We fight cruelty every day. We do not want our tax dollars going to fund this dying and cruel industry. It's all about getting the attention to the public.
Animal rights activists are opening up a new front. They're going into schools and universities in an effort to end a practice they call cruel and unnecessary.
Classroom carnage is what some call it. It's a sentiment shared by generations of squeamish students.
Dissection is not only abusive and costly, it's also useless.
At a Toronto high school, students hear the case against dissection from a veteran animal rights campaigner. She urges them to exercise their right under school rules to refuse to dissect animals.
Terrific news. We're thrilled to bits. This is one step in the right direction. And now I can go back to Canada's Wonderland again.
You're one of the people that weren't going.
No, I boycotted it ever since I found out they had captive dolphins. In 1986 was the first time I protested for Lolita at the Mammy Sea Aquarium.
This is our property here, Seagull property. If you want to protest across the street, that's public right of way.
The public road.
You must disperse this assembly within 10 minutes, and you're going to be subject to arrest.
People make money out of jailing whales and dolphins.
In 1998, I was arrested along with 36 activists in front of SeaWorld.
My information right here.
Okay, everybody stay calm.
They call the SWAT team on a Sunday in Orlando. We're on public property on the sidewalk.
And now, so many years later, she's still there in the tiniest tank in the United States. The kids and the other activists that came with me, they've all grown up. They've had their own children. They've gone to university. Lolita is still there in the tiniest tank. When you look at it from the sky, here's the tank that Lolita's in. And over here is the ocean. It's the equivalent that we are trapped in an elevator, human equivalent. We know that they travel 100 miles a day. We know what their life is like, what it's supposed to be like. And I've had dreams where I could like picture big, some sort of a lift to just that little bit over there. So often, you know, people are like horrified when they see the size of the tank, and then they see where the ocean is. They say, what's wrong with this picture? In 1970, she was taken. And still today, there are protests all the time. We have marches all the time. children actually know quicker than adults when something is wrong. And now I go into schools because, hey, how am I going to stop this? I can run around and protest and get attention on something, but how are we going to stop it from happening in the first place? How are we going to prevent it? Fostering empathy. We have to have that building block of kindness, which is empathy. And that was one of the things that I really wanted to focus on when I'm at schools, to prove that it's cool to be kind. And it's very helpful that I have celebrities that have given me quotes, celebrities that they know, famous people that are telling people about why they're vegetarian. Like Sting, he's very concerned about the rainforest destruction, so therefore he is a vegetarian. Chrissy Hines, she's very concerned about the earth.
This was before people knew what vegan meant. That's why I'm saying vegetarian.
Hi there, it's Andy Lasser from the Ellen DeGeneres Show, or Aberdanny, the one who Ellen DeGeneres takes great pleasure in torturing on a daily basis. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to say bravo to Susan Hargreaves, and thank you for 40 years of incredible volunteer and dedication.
It's a legitimizer for adults, and it's also a way to get people on your side.
You know, because you can feed 20 times the amount of people if you eat the food direct, rather than feed it to a cow, then kill the cow, then eat that. We're not a society that believes it's okay to abuse animals.
There's so much further to go. Yes, we have come, but we can't rely on the governments to change laws. It has to be the individual, the consumer, that changes it.
We're all animals.
It was the individual consumer. It's us. So we are the only ones that can change it.
And you can use that film. And I didn't say earlier that I'm the founder of Animal Hero Kids. And now we're changing it to be an animal hero, to include more people, like all ages, because we don't want to be sitting at the kids' table. And I've always educated for all ages. And the reason I showed you that, like I said, is because you can use that for free, of course. And I will help you contact your local university. I will Zoom in if I'm in Florida, and I'll get vegan food. And so far we've spoken to a lot of universities and animal law students, and we couch it in a way where they don't have their defenses up when they're just looking at the story. They look at me now, 64, and they look at some bad choice of hairdos earlier, and they think, oh, she's been doing it a long time. So they think they're just looking at a story about change, because a lot has changed, and they don't realize, oh, I didn't know that happened. People were so upset. One woman actually said, I'm 36 years old. How could I have not known that they do that to chicks? So I really wanted to establish that even after 43 years or 44 years, I'm so bad at math, I still have a very hard time to have a break or take a break, because it feels so urgent to me. And I'm sure it does with all of us. We know what's happening right now when we're sitting in this room. And you feel like, oh, what can I do? Okay, I'm going to use my skills the best way I can. I'm going to reevaluate. Okay, did this work? Okay, I'll do that. And to take a break is extremely difficult. And I'm still challenged to do it. But we do have to stay here for the entire war, not just individual battles. So there are a few things that I've discovered that help me, but I am not, perfect at it. I mean, I have a cane because I tore my meniscus, because I was helping a dog. I have bronchitis because I basically exhausted myself because the Miami Seaquarium is closing. Their lease is up April 21st, and I'm trying to convince the city of Miami to create a veganza animal hero world instead of the captive. Let's talk about having animal hero world. So I've got a lot going on, plus another book. I've done 5 books that's just released. And so I exhausted myself. I tore my meniscus in November, dragged my leg around since then without getting anything done about it. So I am not the expert here, but I'm still here, which is good. So our first slide that we have that I think really shows the first thing that will help us is perspective. And this, can someone help that person in? I think someone's trying to get in. I just heard. This is from the Archangel magazine. And, yeah, thank you. This is from the Archangel magazine, and it shows the wall of abuse. And this is from Ronnie Lee's magazine, and it shows some people up here, it's kind of hard to see, with like painting a message. Some people over here with a hammer, somebody up over here with a chisel, and they're all doing their own thing. Whatever their skill is, whatever they want to do, they're all using it to help animals. This is a number one thing to help us sustain being in the animal rights movement, with this knowledge that we have that is so disturbing, this knowledge, and that is perspective. Everyone is doing what they feel works, and unless it is directly affecting you, they're stopping you from doing what you do, then to waste time talking about how someone else should be doing something differently is completely counterproductive, exhausting, and it would guarantee really a feeling of absolute exhaustion. So in my 44 years, I've come across a lot of people that want me to go and tell other people what they should or should not be doing. And then they get really mad at me, like, tell this person they shouldn't use religion. Completely, that's another thing, is to find the people who are positive, who are your biggest support. Think about, who do you go to if you have a great idea? Who do you go to say, oh, this happened? This positive thing happened. Those are the people that are going to help you not burn out and to help you be as productive but yet healthy and happy as possible. And you'd think that would be a no-brainer, but in fact it's not. Sometimes it's hard to recognize the people that are there that aren't helping. Just go on. Chef Tabitha, I don't know if you heard of her, but she told me once, she said, you do you, boo. I guess that's a Southern, you do you, boo. Don't worry about other people. Take it off your mind. And the next thing is to celebrate victories. So if there's a victory, like it is a victory that the Miami-Dade County is not renewing the lease of the Miami Seaquarium, well, celebrate that. Celebrate it with people. This is the Veganza Animal Heroes I go into schools with. Corinne Sutton, a vegan professional bodybuilder. He's Freedom. And this is Courage the Mermaid. And I'm Veganza with the wings. So we had a whole week at James Cameron's school that's completely plant-based, where we were doing programs about helping all animals, interactive, entertaining programs. And these people, and this is Free Bison, a vegan rapper, these people, and Tebay Atkins, the youngest to have his own vegan food truck, these people being positive around me and having the same mission are like gold. And it's the opposite of exhausting. It's invigorating. It's encouraging. It's like water in a desert, because it can feel a very lonely, battle sometimes. And so I can't encourage you enough to keep perspective, positive, keep positive people around you, and celebrate victories. And that was at Crossroads Kitchen, which is like a incredible vegan restaurant in Los Angeles. And if anyone could get a picture, I always forget to get pictures for the social media. So if someone could get a picture of not necessarily me, but let's go over here like there's a big crowd. So if someone back there could take a picture. I'm so bad at technology. I can't even pronounce it, technology. And I'm very thankful to James Morgan from Vegan Hacktivist for putting all this on a flash drive. And thankful to Jesse for working this thing. So thank you, thing, as, you know, computer. And so positive people, definitely, and celebrate the victories. And the next one you probably do, that we all do, and that is when you rescue your little friend, four-legged, fin-furred, feathered, this is Lovey. She just died in March, but she was 23, vegan, and a stray, and it's so funny because I got into restaurants, emotional support animal, but as if really she was my emotional support animal, even though, you know, I mean, I think, you know, and then I got to say to people when they actually asked, which they're not supposed to, and why do you have an emotional support animal? And then I would say, well, I investigated the stockyards and the slaughterhouses in the early 1980s. And I saw, and they're like, okay, stop right there. So how important it is for us to, I know that this is just one animal among, you know, billions, but this animal is safe because of you. And it's so important for us to feel that balm, that soothing, because we need to be kind to ourselves. A lot of times we're not kind to ourselves. A lot of times I say, oh, this is what I'm going through now is nothing compared to what the animals go through. It's nothing. And I push myself and push myself. And it's good to push yourself. But however, not push yourself to exhaustion, torn meniscus, bronchitis, and like me. So don't do it. So, and then the next one is also be out in nature if you can. I mean, look at a flower up close and look at ways that are blissful to you and do that. Make time for yourself because you are an animal too and you're just as important as what we are. If I think of it as giving yourself the oxygen mask first. If you're going to help all these animals, how are you going to do that if you can't breathe? So you being out in nature or following what your bliss is, you know, I don't mean new agey or whatever, but it's going to be good for the animals because you're going to be focused, you're going to be refreshed. So whatever your bliss is, like it doesn't have to be something that costs money or much money. If you like going to thrift shops, finding teacups, do it. As long as it's something that's not harmful, like, you know, oh, I can escape with heroin. No, that's not going to make it. Something that's you're here for the long haul. That's the thing, here for the long haul. Thank you. And I have some questions to ask you after that. And then what's the last one? Oh, wait, hold on. Before I do this, I forgot what the last one is. So I love fairies and mermaids. So I've seen a lot of animal cruelty. I investigated stockyard slaughterhouses, seen a lot of animal cruelty from a young age. The chicken hatchery in West Yorkshire that I was taken to, which is now no longer. It's actually a school, and I went back there as Veganza Animal Hero and did a program for the younger kids as a Veganza Animal Hero. That was a full circle. And because mermaids and fairies, there's no animals getting harmed. If you're sitting at home and you've got a picture of a mermaid, you're not thinking generally, or fairies, you're not thinking of animal cruelty. And I find it very hard to watch things and other things that they kind of remind me. And then you got this, once you're reminded about something you saw, you have that reel in your head. So it's total escapism, really, fairies and mermaids. So what do? I take it and I make the Veganza animal heroes out of the mermaids and the fairies obsession, And so I love to entertain people and of all ages and bring them over to thinking about, oh, this is so happy they're rescuing animals, without putting up their little red, like, uh-oh, don't talk, don't, uh-oh. Get the message out in an entertaining way. So you'll be the first group in the United Kingdom to see our Veganza Animal Heroes rap song, and I am not rapping, first of all. We have a rapper for that. So here's the Veganza Animal Heroes rap, and you can see at the beginning when we went to, it'll come through to James Cameron's wife's school, which is all plant-based, and it's all solar operated, and that's where we're there for a week doing programs. So here it is. Is that the volume? How do we get rid of that? Is it the volume? Is this the volume? Yeah. Wish we could get rid of this. So that is sustaining stuff right there, because you've got music, you've got entertainment, and I'm actually achieving something. So what I would like to hear from you guys, because I still need help, obviously, getting. I think we should put something in there, because you can't. This is, what can we put in there? If there was like a piece of paper, yeah. Like put this piece of paper or something. Yeah. Maybe put a piece of paper in the, yeah, I should have done that before. Like right where that switch is, that's it. Perfect, thank you. So I want to hear from you guys. We could turn that off now and put the lights up. I want to hear from you guys. Could you turn the lights on? Thank you very much. Right, somebody, thank you. You're right near the door. You're getting a lot of requests. Who knew you were going to work so much? So what do you all do? Do you feel the need to, I mean, it's like we have post-traumatic stress syndrome. really. And I've been doing this since 1980. So some of the things that I saw, it actually did give me post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I think a lot of us have that. And yet, how do we navigate, and sustain ourselves? Because we're also very sensitive, or else we wouldn't be so empathetic and feel what the other animals are going through. So here you are, you're sensitive, you've got PTSD, and you've got like the biggest job in the world. The biggest job in the world. So what have you found anything? I want to know what you do and should we have the microphone or
sure.
should I just give my microphone? What do you do? Because I want to hear. Go ahead.
We have just 2 minutes now.
2 minutes.
Input,
Okay,
so.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll try and be brief. I think it's the most important job in the world as well. For me, it's finding a tribe and feeling comfortable with other people that are similar values and beliefs, but also getting my hands in the dirt. Right. I love worms as much as I love every other form of life on the planet.
So, gardening.
And knowing that you're protecting and the work is happening, because when they fight back, that means that we're pushing, and really holding tight that this is working. And I believe it's exponential.
Yeah.
And I like the previous speaker, but I also really, really honour you and thank you incredibly for what you've done.
Thank you.
This is brilliant.
To me, I feel like I'm just beginning because I haven't achieved what I wanted yet. I want a Veganza Animal Heroes world. Like a Disney world. Where is ours? Where is the animal hero world? It's not there. We need an entertaining attraction for all people to come in with their kids, have rides, learn about being vegan. They don't even know they're learning about being vegan. The Veganza Animal Heroes go into schools and they don't even know they're learning that how to go vegan. We have the Veganza Guide to Save Animals on the Earth. So I encourage everyone to contact me and join us. We're all volunteer. And I have my cards up here if you want to take one. So does anyone else do we have, what time is it?
We're out of time,
We've
sadly.
got 2 minutes.
But
12? Okay.
But are you around both days this weekend?
Yes, I'm leaving tomorrow at like 12 noon, but I'm here. I would really like to talk to anyone and hear what you do to relax. And then also to be, if you want to help or join Animal Hero Kids. We've got books on Amazon, if you just Google Susan Hargreaves, that need reviews. I'm not saying you have to buy them. And all the proceeds go to our education work.